was talking to Mr. Baxley about his program director. He's got two of them. And Haley's really good as far as people coming in, you can close on them and things like that. And Shanice seems to be becoming a real good person for as far as finding people. It's kind of neat. Shanice is almost the whole package. Haley has just some great techniques, but I don't think she quite has a drive for finding people like Shanice does. And I was kind of developing this plan for today because I was presenting it to Charles Jarnigan because he just hired a new program director. I started thinking if I had to give him an award for the program director of the year, Shanice may be the person I would be looking at right now. She's really got it. So today we're going to talk about cause and effect and why aren't you enrolling more people? So if you only enrolled a few people so far this month, I mean, that's the effect. You got a few people this month. The cause is way back 2 weeks. What you're doing a couple weeks ago caused the effect of only getting 2 or 3 people so far this month. So I was going to talk about that a lot today. Again, this recording is going out for a lot of school owners that are under 100 but don't want to be there. They want to grow. We're going to talk about enrollments and what it takes to get a good enrollment director or program director. And so I started figuring there's really 3 parts of the job once becoming an enrollment director. 1 is you have to find people. 2, you've got to close on them. And 3, you've got to develop them after they become a student. When I say develop them, so they're becoming lifers for your martial arts school. So you're not just signing people up and people quit, but you're keeping people for the long term. So the closer, it's probably, some people think this is the most important part of it, being able to get someone into your school and actually close them and ask for the money and they sign up for the contract. So I started thinking, what does it take to become a good closer? 1 is you have to be really good at giving a tour of your facility. So if someone comes walking in your school and they go, hey, wow, this is a big room. Well, it's not a big room. This is a martial arts academy. And the reason we have those chairs on the side of the room is just for people to sit down, because it's really important for us to have parents involved watching their kids take martial arts classes, so they have that parent support. We do a lot with personal development. When parents see exactly how we teach this, it's a really benefit when they can go home and talk to their kids and continue on with this education. So again, we're a very family-oriented school. So that's just talking about the chairs. But your program director, someone signing up, you could be the program director and the owner. But if you're doing this job before you close, people have to see the benefits for joining your school, not for just joining martial arts, but for your school. You have to have a clear presentation. So after you do the tour, after you do the first class or the trial, you can sit down and continue talking about the benefits of martial arts. And the benefits is not just that you have a great location. When we're talking about benefits, what's in it for them? So if they're coming in for self-confidence and self-esteem, you're doing a presentation, you're listening to them. They say that their kids are getting beat up, and you talk about the importance of not being bullied and how kids miss school, and kids that miss school, of course, they get poor grades, they're going to have worse relationships. Martial arts can change that. We can turn this around rather quickly. So you have to be very, very comfortable with your presentation. You've got to be able to handle FAQ, frequently asked questions. And you guys have been in martial arts, everyone on this first page has been in it for a long time. You know the questions people ask about. The question, can I switch times? Do I always have to come on Tuesday or Thursday? You know, why am I have to make it a commitment? Why can't I just pay per class? What happens if he doesn't like it? What if he wants to quit? I'm not sure why I have to give you a down payment or a registration fee. You know, auto pay kind of makes me feel uneasy. I don't like people having access to my bank account. What if he wants to take the summer off? You know, he likes to play soccer. What do I do then? So these are just some of the frequently asked questions. These are the things that you know the answer for before the person even asks a question, because you've thought about that. You've been in the business for a long time, so if someone comes up and says, well, what if he wants to quit? Well, sometimes kids do want to quit. You know, everyone has highs and lows in their training. But it's really important if this starts to happen, you tell me. I've been through this hundreds of times with students. Not everyone is totally motivated every single day. Kids may want to take some time off, but we really have to team up and not give up on your son. So you know the answers, you practice, drill, and rehearse this, so when someone has one of these frequently asked questions during the conference, you know how to handle it, your program director knows how to handle it. The cool thing about being a good closer, it's all systems. It's presentation, it's learning about the benefits, it's giving you a totally exciting intro class, it's presenting the program so enrollment becomes easy. There isn't 15 different choices in different programs. This is a program that I highly recommend. There's 2 ways to handle the finances. So becoming a better closer is a system. It's a skill. All skills can be learned. All skills can be perfected. But if you're not getting the results that you want right now, maybe you need more practicing, drilling, rehearsing in this part of the position of being a program director. Next position is developer. We're talking about developing. What happens after the student signs up? Well, what I want to happen is the students start seeing the black belt lifestyle. They start thinking long term. They don't want to quit my school because it's the place to be. Their friends are at the martial arts school. They believe in the culture of the martial arts school. They're getting results. They don't want these results to stop. They're there for the long term. So we call this ethical cult building, the culture of our school. So some of the things to become a good developer are a welcome letter. So when someone signs up and they go home and a day later they're having some buyer's remorse and they get a thank you or welcome letter from you and says, I just want to thank you for trusting your martial arts skills to Wolfpack Martial Arts. We're totally dedicated to our students. If you have any questions about anything, my door is always open. I've included a business card. Please call me with anything you have, anything questions you have. So they get a nice welcome letter. That's step number 1. Step number 2, you can send out a good job note. I'm just really impressed at your performance in class. Your flexibility is great. Your attitude's contagious. I'm so proud to have you as a newest member of my team. Means a lot. This isn't a fast email. This is pen to paper where you're taking the time to show the gratitude for this student enrolling in your school. You want to make sure they get invited to the students' night out or parents' night out, whatever you happen to do. People ask me, what's the difference between a students' night out and a parents' night out? Parents' night out is the long version. That's like the 3 or 4 hours so the parents can go to the movie. The students' night out is an hour and a half or 90 minutes on a Friday night where the students are getting time to get out of the house, but the parents really don't have time to go see a movie or something like that. But when you have a new student, we're going to invite them to there because we want them to be part of that culture. We want them to build friendships in the school. So we don't beg them to come. We give them a nice invitation. We tell the parents about the importance of coming and being active in the social events in our school. We give them an invitation to bring to a friend. We want to make sure during this development stage that we ask for referrals. When people start something new, they're totally excited. What a better way to glue them to the school than have their friends also training at the school. So we make sure that we ask for referrals early on after someone just signs up. We make sure that they're invited to our White Belt Buddy Bash, our new student orientation, our parent VIP class, no matter what you call it. But there's time per month that all the new students come together. They learn a little bit about their training. They learn about the rules and regulations of the school, how they get tested. They get to bring a buddy for this. So again, this is building the culture of the school. Within the first 2 months, they're getting a progress and goal check 1, 2, and 3. So after 2 weeks, you're talking to the parents about comparing their child's progress to other kids in the school. It's not a belt race. All the kids are here progressing at their own rate. So it's really important to keep that in mind so we don't start comparing your kids to other students. We also know that confidence is one of the first things we want to develop, and we do that through becoming a good finder. We explain what that is. Progress and goal check 2. We're talking about their child maybe wanting to quit. Yeah, I understand. This stuff happens. It's okay if your child doesn't want to come once, but it's really important that we team up and we never give up. So becoming a developer, getting that glue, is giving the PG 1, 2, and 3. It's watching attendance. Attendance is a super indicator. If someone has 2 classes a week and then one week they come once, we got to get on them right away. Why did they miss that class? Was it maybe the classes aren't as fun as I think they are? Maybe something's happening in their life, but we want to find out. The program director should be there at the first graduation. You know, sometimes the program director is not a instructor to school, and they don't think it's important to go to graduation. But right after graduation, when people get their yellow belt, the program director is going to be talking to them. So the program director should be at graduation saying, I can't believe it. You got your yellow belt already. It just seems like yesterday when you signed up. I'm so excited for you. And we're going to have to be sitting down talking about leadership pretty soon, because getting your yellow belt is the first step. Next step is to become a leadership member. We want to make sure that, again, we convert them to leadership. We want to make sure that when the program director is talking to people, if a student happens to give you a testimonial saying, I can't believe it, you know, I've been here for 3 weeks, I've been taking the adult class, absolutely love it, I'm getting those combinations down, but the best thing is, I put on my pants today and there was like this much extra room, I can't believe I'm losing weight. And then you have to say, okay, stop for 1 second. Can I get my phone and have you put that on a short video? Because that's awesome. Do you know how many people try to lose weight? If I can use that video on my Facebook site, maybe we can inspire someone else to do martial arts. So you want to get testimonials. So you're really building raving fans. What you're looking to build is school ambassadors. So when someone posts something on Facebook, hey, I live in Dothan, Alabama, are there any good karate schools? You have 15 of your students, but Wolfpack Martial Arts, Wolfpack Martial Arts, Wolfpack Martial Arts. That's how you get new students. That's word of mouth. There's one thing for you saying, I've got the best school in town. It's another thing when a student says it's the best school in town. Some people may think it's self-serving when you say it. When your student says it, that's a huge raving fan and testimonial. So once we sign up the student, we're not done. You know, a big part of, third of our job is becoming a developer. This is the last one. See, a developer is pretty cool too. That's also a skill, because everything that I listed right here, we have on the United Professionals page. You can get the welcome letter. You can learn how to write a good job note. Total systems. I mean, you can just have a list of 1 to 20. I've got to do these 20 things and get all those things. That's a system. Finder. Finder is different, because some people can be taught to become a finder, but some people just do it better. And when I started writing this section last night, I started thinking about Shanice. Shanice is Steve Matz is one of his program director. She's a finder. We were talking yesterday. I was doing his staff program, and she just started showing me lists of people that are already coming to the holiday party. She's been talking to them. She's been doing the outgoing phone calls. They haven't signed up yet. They're waiting for the holiday party. And she's doing this. She likes to do that. Now, how do you find people? I'm just going to give you a few, and then you're going to have to decide where you in your program fits in. There's Facebook. You may have heard or may not have heard of a school owner in Oklahoma, William Pierce. William Pierce did a video, and he just confessed that he doesn't like marketing. He says, you know, I know things like rack cards and promotional booths work really, really good, but it's not for me. He says, I'm a lazy marketer. I want to spend my time with my students and work in the school. I don't want to spend my time on marketing, so I spend money on Facebook. And he says, I think I spend $5,000 a month on Facebook ads, which is a lot of money, but that's okay. He doesn't want to do the work. If you don't want to do the work, you buy your students. So he's spending that $5,000. I think he said he exaggerated. It's probably more like $3,500, but you know, he's buying his students. That's fine. Some people like Tom Baker, I was talking to Doug Bertrand 2 days ago. He signed up 70 students in his 2 schools last month without doing anything on Facebook. The only thing he did was promotional booths. He's got a program director, her name is Gigi. Him and his wife get out there. They're just people person. They just got their personalities. They're not afraid to talk to strangers. In fact, they love talking to strangers. They love explaining about the benefits of martial arts. they're not wasting time by taking a long time to build rapport. If someone comes up to the booth and they engage in a conversation, they're building rapport. They love to do that. Tom and Ellen Baker love to do. They'll make 15 to 20 appointments at a promotion booth, and then they go over to the school. They make sure they call them. They convert them into students, and then, of course, they follow up. Rack cards work. Charles Jarnigan, the first thing I have his guy doing is rack cards. I know it's a lot of work, but it's really good for him to get out there, introduce himself to the community. He's got to talk to 100 business owners, get rack cards in there. I want 100 business people to know about his martial arts school. So he gets out there and introduces himself. He's building relationships every week by doing his rack card locations. School talks. Jason Smith is really good at school talks. He gets into schools. He does great classes. When kids in his community are going to look for martial arts, they're going to go, hey, that karate guy that always comes to me from Trinity. Yeah, I want to go to his school. They might not sign up right after the school talks, but he's developing that. So he's getting out, he's working his community. Maybe your thing is community workshops. Maybe you want to do a self-defense clinic for women. That's one thing, but someone who's a good finder is going to figure out how to pack that workshop for women. So if someone who's a finder is going to say, okay, I've got to go to hospitals, because there's a lot of people working in hospitals that are nurses. They work crazy hours. Walking to the car could be dangerous. So I'm going to go talk to the nurses and get them to our community event. Or maybe your thing is, hey, there's a lot of women that sell real estate in my area. You know, they're in compromising situations a lot of times. I'm going to do a workshop for them. I'm not going to advertise it. I'm actually going to talk to them. Maybe you tell your program director, say, hey, can you find me 60 soccer moms, because kids aren't playing soccer right now, and these soccer moms are into competition. They're into fitness for their kids. Find out where the soccer moms are, what they socialize at, and get me in front of them so we can talk to them about martial arts. I'm going to use Shanice again. She does outgoing phone calls, and she does a lot of them. And I asked her one time, I said, I'm going to go, Shanice, I got to tell you, doing 100 calls, only getting 10 people to talk to, those 10 people, with 3 people make appointments, how do you handle that rejection? She goes, it doesn't bother me. She goes, I've got motivation. I go, what's your motivation? And her child was behind her. She goes, this is my son. He's my motivation. That's cool. She's a hard worker. She's a finder of people because she's got motivation behind her. Not everyone has that. Some people just have a problem with rejection. They're almost afraid to do a cold call. In fact, I was at a school in New York, and we're sitting in. I said, what's that a pile of papers? They go, oh, those are all kids that came to birthday parties. I go, wow, did you make appointments? And the girl goes, no, I'm not going to call them. I go, you're not going to call them? She goes, no, I don't like to do outgoing calls. I won't do them. I go, it's not that hard. I said, give me some. And so it was me, Chris was the school owner, and then her name was Candy. And so I did a call and just talked to them like I was actually from the school, and we had a real good conversation. I got the person to make an appointment. Chris did it. He had a good conversation. People are actually really friendly to us. She wouldn't do it. You know, I mean, it's really hard to develop your school with new students if you are afraid to do outgoing calls. This isn't something that can really be taught. I could teach Candy how to do an outgoing call. I don't have any problem with it, but she just had a fear of it. And a finder is building rapport. When I was talking to Shanice, she says, when I talk to someone, they get to know me and I get to know them. She's just really good at building rapport. Again, that's something natural. So that goes back to Mr. Baxley, recognizing those qualities and hiring the right person for the job. So again, we start thinking about your enrollment director. Where am I going to do the training? Well, in those 3 areas, he's got to find people, or she's got to find people. They've got to come into close. And then after they close, I want them to be raving fans so they become a developer. And again, if you're thinking about doing more training for your staff, what can you do? When someone's a program director, they have to have good work ethic. In other words, the work ethic for a program director isn't really 9 to 5 or 3 to 7. Because if I'm out to dinner on a Sunday and I'm a program director and a family sits down and they have 4 kids, I've got to step up and introduce myself because that's the chance of getting 4 new students. I'm going to the movies on a Saturday night and all of a sudden there's a family behind me. I have a chance to give them a guest pass to my school. Now I'm at the gym lifting weights. This is my time. And all of a sudden they have a big screen TV and I see some guy looking at the UFC fights. I've got to go and introduce to that guy because he could be my next a student in my school. So it's work ethic. They have to be competent. They have to know about your school. They have to know about you. They have to understand your style. They have to understand your training methods. They have to know exactly how you develop life skills in kids. They have to be competent. It's not just a salesperson, someone that really knows what's going on in your school. This is a tough one. They have to have confidence in asking for money. A lot of times when we hire someone, that person we hire isn't really well-to-do. So when they're asking someone for $1,000 for a 6 months program, they may have a trouble saying that. I know I was working with one real estate agent one time, and I could just tell she was uncomfortable because I asked to look at more of a high-end house, and I don't think she ever sold anything over $1 million before, and I can kind of see in her, she didn't really have confidence in herself. So people have to have confidence in asking for money. If you're a new program director and all of a sudden you talk about leadership and all of a sudden you say, how much is the leadership program? It's $6,000. Well, you have to say $6,000 with the confidence in your voice that my program is worth $6,000. Another area to get better at is just people skills. How do you learn people skills? Well, a lot through is observation. You're observing people. You see how people react to different situations. You see how people kind of sit and talk to other. You may want to read. You may want to learn more about body language. If you want to just read how to win friends and influence people, that'd be great for a book for your program director to read so they can build that type of rapport. And the next thing is Zig Ziglar talks about sales speaking. He's talking about someone selling pots and pans. And he says, you got to own the ovenware. In other words, you got to really believe in the effects of martial arts. See, if someone doesn't sign up that I'm interviewing and I'm talking to that parent and that parent has a need because their child's afraid to go to school. When I'm talking to a woman and she wants to lose 10 pounds, would make total difference in her life if she lost 10 pounds. I'm talking to some guy who's looking to get a black belt in martial arts just to build up his confidence and self-esteem. I know what that stuff does, and I know it can be life-changing because I've seen it happen to kids. I remember Cassie Goodman. That's pretty cool. Her name just popped into my head because this was almost 30 years ago. She had a cerebral palsy, and she walked into my school. She didn't really walk in. She kind of stumbled onto the mat. She could hardly walk because she was shaking so much and everything. With 6 months, she gained a lot of motor skills. I mean, it was tremendous. The cool thing was her confidence. Because when she first came to my school, her head's down and she's stumbling on the mat, she felt really, really good about herself. I believe in the effects of martial arts. When you have that type of belief, you're doing someone a disservice if you don't sign them up. So they're not going to just say, well, we're going to think it over. Yeah, I understand you want to think it over. Now, let's talk about this together. You don't know what you're missing by not signing up. So those are different areas to get better at. And again, I want to thank Mr. Baxley for introducing Shanice because she has taught me a lot about what I'm going to look for in a good program director. This is another thing, too. It's a two-way street because Mr. Baxley and I were talking. Shanice came from a job where she was making almost 6 figures, and we want to get her towards that real fast. So we actually developed a program that's going to really accelerate her ability to get new students because she's so good at building rapport. I said, why doesn't she sell birthday parties? Why doesn't she do the birthday parties? What if you gave her this type of incentive? So we kind of figured a way to almost double her salary by allowing her to do that. So again, when you're working with your staff, you want them to produce for you, but at the same time, you want to make sure you give back and know what their goals are and help your staff reach those goals. That's really, really important. They have to know that you're on their side. was a lot of words in 27 minutes. Anything you guys want to add? Now, this is going out to probably 100 schools. I'm going to email this to. They all have under 100 students. A lot of them are stuck at 40. Any words of wisdom or just tips Mrs. Baxley or Mr. Smith want to hand out? These guys are shy. Okay.
I would
shy, but both of us at the same time. Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, I would probably just say I would agree with your post that you made about this group or for the talk today, was just to be consistent, to be coachable in it, and get on these focus groups here, and not only take notes but look at how you can apply the notes that you take. We go into looking at we may get on these meetings, or we may go to seminars and things like that, and we take all these notes, and then that's as far as it goes. It's the implementation of it that we need to really grow and change.
It kind of reminds me, sometimes listening to today, Jason says, if today is a lot like yesterday, you probably didn't do anything yesterday to make a change. So if you want tomorrow to be different and not the same as yesterday and the day before that, make some type of change today. So couldn't agree more with you there, sir.
That's the most important thing, is to take action today. Most people want to put it off. We'll start, 2 months down the road, or first of next month, we'll start doing this. Most of the time when I leave this meeting, I implement it that day, because if I wait around, I'm going to forget about doing it. My school is well above 100 students, and I'm on this meeting for, schools that have under 100 students, and I've taken this many notes, today on a meeting that's not from my size school.
Right.
So something on every single meeting. Everybody needs to be on this meeting live every day, just like Jason and I are. And we're the ones, getting the life-changing benefits of being on this meeting. And that's, watching it later when it's recorded, you're kind of lazy when you watch it. You can stop and pause it, get distracted. But I had several texts happen during this meeting. I quickly responded, but went back to paying attention to the meeting. I wouldn't have done that if I was watching the recording.
Yep. Very good. Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.
Again, welcome on. Love to have you. We talked last week. Having you on is really important. Mr. Baxley, I hope will be a big help. We talked a little bit about your situation yesterday. We talked about possibly some changes in the schedule in your program. So the advice he's giving you is solid. So hopefully you take action. We start seeing some results that you're looking for really, really fast. Okay, guys. Thank you. I'll post this in a few minutes.